Hello, hello, this is Patty Jo joining you again. My cough is better. I know it's been really gross, I'm sorry. But this morning I have a stomach problem, and this morning my breakfast didn't go down, so I am but that cough is not the same. Just trying to drink some liquids with it, get a little better. So I'm really sorry if it's gross. I'm trying to minimize that. I hope everybody is doing well. We are still on day 8 of watching this. I've seen so many good names come out of those comments. Goblin Patch, Goblin, Trash Patch, Goblin, all kinds of good ones. I'm trying to remember. I need to make a proper list, just like the words he doesn't pronounce right. The lighting is a little different because I have so many screens at work. Oh my gosh, my eyeballs are just burning. And the little broken ring light that I use is just, I can't with that today. So we have the so it's a little bit too much light. So nobody needs to see that much of me. Maybe I'll try to make myself smaller so you don't have to suffer. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So reading all the comments and all the tips and tricks, I'm trying very hard to stick with those. So you guys like them when it's bigger. It's a little harder for me, but okay, that's not a problem. I'm working on it. I'm also going to try to. I'm trying to learn a few things. Got my Google up here to try to learn how to do some of this stuff. All right, let's move on with the next witness, who is, again, after the parade when he was running away, like Sue Opper says so eloquently in her closing, I think it is, like a little chicken. He tries to manipulate people along the way. Now, we've observed one guy who just basically wasn't having it and was trying to be so, let's see, I'm thinking it wasn't politically correct, really. It was kind of like socially acceptable. Like, he knows not to swear in public, but you know he sweared at Darrell. Okay, then he runs into this other guy who's a whole lot more I'm sorry, I know that's gross. He runs into the guy who's a whole lot more gentle. His kids are out there, even though one of them happens to be an adult and one a teen. He actually is feeling protective of this. He was a little less expressive, a lot more nervous. I think all of these folks are nervous testifying. I can't imagine being in the same room with him, let alone having discovered how close you were to this level of evil. And I commend all of these people. They were the heroes for the people who were hurt, who couldn't march through here and testify because they were still traumatized, because it wasn't appropriate for a 3-year-old to come and accuse this monster. Oh, ugh. But this is another lady who he tried to rope into his getaway unknowingly. I don't know if she was at the parade or not, but I think this is a lady that coming up next. Same scenario though. What a dirt bag. Did we jump back somehow? Sure. Oh no, maybe we're coming up on the Lyft driver.
Before you canceled the ride, do you recall the last contact with the person who had set the Lyft up?
I'm gonna push it back a little bit because I think we were still.
And
this is our lady that is next. There we go. The whole truth and nothing. Now I got it straight. Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Please be seated. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Erin Cordes, first name E-R-I-N, last name Cordes, C-O-R-D-E-S.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Cordes.
Good morning.
Ma'am, I'd like to direct your attention to the date of November 21, 2021. Did you attend the WAUKESHA Christmas parade that afternoon?
Yes, I did.
And who did you attend the parade with?
My husband and my 2 children.
Do you recall from what location you watched the parade?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. She may answer.
We watched it from the corner of West and Wisconsin.
Okay. And do you understand that to be near the end of the parade route?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. She may answer.
I believe it was close to the end. The parade rounded the corner and continued on, and I don't know exactly where it ended.
Okay. And as you were at that location watching the parade, did something unusual happen?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Yes, we saw a car going pretty fast around the corner, and I remember my husband said that's not part of the parade. Grab the kids, because our kids were in the middle of the road picking up candy at the time.
Wow.
Okay.
So, and the car just did not stop and kept going.
Was there a police officer present at that corner?
Yes, there was.
What did you see the police officer do?
Well, the car, I thought it was coming at us for a minute, but it ended up swerving and going through the barricades, and the police officer fired 3 shots at the vehicle.
Wow.
You were standing right there at that intersection.
Yes, I was.
Objections noted.
I don't know how I mean, I have been in the presence of gunfire, and and I have been actually shot before, but I don't know how I would feel about seeing that and that part of it. That's scary too. Even though I don't think he hit anybody in that part of it.
It's overruled.
This is
Her
like
answer
just
may
a
stand.
desperate
Next
getaway.
question. Go ahead.
What did you do after that, ma'am?
Well, we ran up to the house behind us as the car was coming at us, and I was just kind of keeping an eye out for the car at the time, because it looked like it was out of control, and I didn't know if it was going to go up to the house we were at or what direction it was going. So we just stayed by the house for a little bit, just kind of in shock.
Okay.
After that happened.
Okay. And at some point, did you decide to leave the area?
Yes, we did.
Where did you go?
We were parked a little bit further away because we had gotten to the parade late. So we were parked a few blocks out of the way on Elizabeth Street.
Okay.
At Aries Industries.
Do you have some familiarity with Aries Industries?
Yes, I do.
Relevancy.
Overruled. She may answer. Do me a favor, if there is an objection, wait until I rule on it before you answer.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And what's your familiarity with Aries Industries?
Objection.
Overruled.
My husband is employed at Aries Industries.
Do you happen to know the address of that location?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
I don't offhand, no.
Okay. Do you know what street it's on?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
Leading.
It's not leading. Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, Elizabeth Street.
Okay. And how were you able to, I'll strike that.
Okay, I'm sorry to have stopped her right there. But does anybody notice how he is more forceful with his objection or his interruptions, because they're not real objections, and when he's trying to stop the people he does not see as his allies from saying anything, and also intimidating. He is trying to do what he thought he did to the other gentleman, which was intimidate him and twist his words. I'm sure they can feel that, but he's already starting the process. It's such a gaslighting, narcissistic behavior. I hate it.
Walking back to Aries Industries, that's where you had parked, right?
Correct.
What was your route or your path that you took?
We continued straight on West Avenue until we got to Elizabeth Street, and then took a right on Elizabeth Street.
Okay. Pretty much a straight shot?
Yes.
Just a couple blocks
Yes.
down West Avenue, and then you hang a right on Elizabeth.
Correct.
Okay. As you were doing that, making your way back to your car, Did you encounter somebody out on foot?
Yes, we did.
Tell us about that, please.
Objection, leading.
Overruled. She may answer.
Tell us about that as
We had just rounded the corner onto Elizabeth Street, and Darrell Brooks, we encountered Darrell Brooks. He came out of the shadows between a couple houses and approached us.
Okay.
Like a snake. Oh, I wish they could have embellished. I'm sure she embellishes this story with the proper descriptives when she's telling it out of court. Like a snake, like a rat. He came running out from between the houses, from the darkness. Oh, God.
Now, you referred to this person by name. Did you know Mr. Brooks prior to this encounter?
Nope.
Okay. Never met him before.
Correct.
Objection.
And you said he...
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
The objection came after her answer. Her answer will stand. Next question.
You can't object to an answer. You can only
You said he
object to
kind
a
of came
question,
out of... Did you say the bushes?
Objection.
What did you say?
Objection.
Oh, overruled. She rephrased. He may answer. She may answer. I'm sorry.
It appeared he came from between two houses, so I don't know exactly where he was.
Okay. And did you notice his appearance when he approached you?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes, I did.
What did you notice?
I just remember it was a very windy, cold night, and he was dressed pretty inappropriately for the night. I noticed he was visibly shivering. He had a red short sleeve t-shirt on and was not wearing shoes.
Do you see the same person present in this courtroom here today?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that Mr. Brooks be instructed to remove his mask and look at the witness so she can properly identify him, please.
Mr. Brooks, please unmask.
Oh my goodness, look how nervous. That makes me so angry for these people. Why do they have to do this?
And look at the witness.
Yeah, stop writing with your inside of your pen.
Sir, would you please unmask and look at the witness? Thank you.
Writing something down.
All right, thank you. Just want to make sure you heard me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that the gentleman you encountered on the street that
Your
you're
face
describing
diaper
for us,
back.
ma'am?
Yes, it is.
Baby.
Did Mr. Brooks speak to you in any way?
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name.
You may answer.
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
He asked if either of us had a phone that he could use, and we said we hesitated because it was strange. It was a strange encounter, and after what we had just witnessed at the parade, I think we were both pretty much on edge at that point. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you're referring to we, who are you referring to?
sorry, my husband and I.
Okay, go ahead. So he asked for the phone.
Correct.
You kind of pause.
Yep.
And then what'd you do?
Objection,
then-
leading.
Overruled. Go ahead, you may answer.
His next words were, "I'm not going to hurt you. I just need to use your phone." And that's when I gave him my phone.
Okay.
Backhanded way to not sound threatening or to sound threatening. He's desperate. Okay, that's one thing people used to ask, like, aren't you afraid of psychiatric patients or because when people with psychiatric disorders or mental disorders call for assistance from an ambulance or a medic unit or whatever you call it in your area, generally they're in crisis. So was I ever afraid? There were only 2 circumstances where I was, even if the person was acting out physically or had taken drugs or something, was acting out uncontrollably, that didn't bother me because that I can control or have some illusion of control to a certain extent. And if they're calling or somebody's calling for them, they're requesting assistance. They know they're out of control. So that doesn't bother me. What would bother me is somebody who unilaterally decided without their doctor's understanding, I hesitate to say consent, but without the doctor's understanding that they're not taking their medications anymore that was stabilizing their condition. If they unilaterally decided this for whatever reason, they don't have the money, they couldn't go see the doctor again, and they were, but somebody in the medical profession did not know that they were not taking these medications that were prescribed and they were stopped suddenly. Or people who were desperate, anxious and desperate. OCD people who are desperate to normalize their situation in their head will do anything, including anything, to get back to that state. And without some kind of medical intervention, that can be scary. So that's where it kind of, for me, the line for me to be more cautious was, yes, I understand, but let's put your cane in the front of the ambulance just in case. We do want to help you. We are going to help you, but let's make this as safe as possible for everyone, because they're going to wildly react. But that is so few. The percentage of that happening and there's a safer acronym that we used to use to analyze the situation and to respond to it, which stands for certain things to do. But basically, you want to calm the situation, you want to create it as safe as possible, and you want to get an understanding with the person. And that's generally easy to do. But in this case with Darrell, that's not the problem. The problem is he is desperate to do anything to get away from the scene of his last crime. And so many people witnessed it, including this lady and her family, that he's asking her for help. He's asking the witnesses and the victims, really, for help to get away from his last crime. And then he's mad because they can recognize him?
Did he use your phone? Did you see him manipulate your phone in some fashion?
Objection. What do you mean by manipulate?
Overruled. She may answer.
He didn't like the word manipulate.
I'm sorry, what was the question? Dan?
Did you see him use your phone in some way?
Yes, I did.
What did you see him do?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
He called his mom.
Could you hear what he was saying on his end?
Yes, I could hear what he was saying.
Could you hear the responses being provided by the person on the other end of the phone?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, I could not hear the other side of the conversation.
Okay. Tell us to the best of your memory what you remember Mr. Brooks was saying into the phone.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Go ahead and answer, please.
Not to be called that name. Thank you.
He just kept asking his mom to call him an Uber. And
So
he wasn't responding to anything that she was asking. He just kept repeating, call me an Uber. I need an Uber now.
Did he sound urgent in his voice?
Objection. Leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
How did his voice sound?
There was a sense of urgency that he needed an Uber and he needed it now.
And he was specifically referring to the person he was speaking to by what name?
Mom.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. She will answer. Her answer will stand.
At some point, did Mr. Brooks turn his attention to you and ask a question to you as he was still on the phone?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Go ahead and answer.
He asked for the address where we were located at the time.
What did you tell him?
I did not know the address, so I asked my husband what the address was, and he provided the answer.
Okay. And again, you're very close to your husband's workplace.
We were actually in the parking lot at that time.
Okay. I'm going to... well, let me ask you this. At some point, did he terminate his phone call?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, he did.
And what happened then?
He said that he was freezing and he asked if I knew of any place that he could go warm up. So my husband directed him towards the lobby of Aries.
Okay. Did he return your phone? Did he return your phone to you?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And did you see If he left your presence, where did he go?
Objection, lead.
Overruled.
He went up to the lobby.
You saw that?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you go?
We were pretty on edge at that point, so we put our kids in the car as quickly as possible and drove down the road.
Okay. I'm going to show you some exhibits on the screen in front of you, okay? First is 171, I'm sorry.
I'm going to pause here for a second. Okay, it should be recording again.
Do you see a photograph on the screen in front of you, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you recognize anybody or any place in that photograph?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
I recognize the Aries building in the background and Darrell Brooks on the porch.
Okay. 171's previously been admitted, Your Honor. I'm going to request permission to publish again.
Permission granted.
Objection.
All right.
Doesn't even lift its
Noted,
head.
it's overruled. It's already been received.
Ms. Cordes, that's a touch screen in front of you. Could you just please point out Aries Industries and specifically, if you can, the area where you saw Mr. Brooks head for the lobby of the building?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name again for the record.
Jury will disregard that last comment by the defendant.
So do you want me to circle?
Yeah, circle or X or dot, whatever.
It's way in the other corner over here, so it's hidden by the trees.
Okay. So
basically, this monster is just going from like person to person, whoever he can see, in desperation to distance himself from the scene of his crimes, plural. Ugh, look at him. Nobody recognizes me.
the area where you first encountered Mr. Brooks, is that actually shown in this photograph?
Cloaking
Objection, I don't
device.
consent to being called that name.
Jury will disregard that comment.
I don't consent. For the record.
Go ahead and answer, ma'am.
It's more over here where we were parked. There's a second parking lot over there.
Okay. And then the person in the photograph, can you circle the person, please? Is that what Mr. Brooks looked like that evening when you spoke to him?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
Go ahead and answer.
Yes.
I'm now going to put up Exhibit 76. And we're going to play it for you first before it gets shown to the jury, okay? So let me know when it's up, please.
It's on her screen.
Okay, thank you. For the record, this is a clip that's 53 seconds long. I'm just going to play maybe the first 10 seconds or so and see if she recognizes. All right, we've played about the first 10 seconds of that clip. Do you recognize the what is shown in this video, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
It's the lobby of Aries Industries.
Okay. And is this the door that you directed Mr. Brooks to?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
You may answer, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe this video is a true and accurate depiction of the events of November 21 of 21?
Yes, I do.
Move to admit 76 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
I believe there was an objection. It's noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 76 is received and permission to publish is granted.
The witness wasn't there in this video. How could it be relevant?
Your objections noted, sir.
How could it be
We're going
relevant?
to play it in its entirety, Your Honor. As soon as the jury's got it. They got it? Okay, thank you. Play.
So little.
Okay, we can pause it at the 39-second or 40-second mark. I said we'll play the whole thing, but did you see a person approach the doors to the building during the video?
Yes, I did. I saw Darrell Brooks approach the door.
And is that consistent with what you saw that night as you watched Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
And now that you look at the door, do you see the address for the building on the door?
Yes, I do.
And what is the address, please?
550.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I don't have any other questions.
All right. Mr. Brooks may have questions for you. Any cross, sir?
I don't consent to being called that name, for the record.
Repeating the same overruled complete nonsense as a objection doesn't lend any credibility to your argument, Darrell, okay? Oh my God. Okay, we're ready.
Your cross, please.
Can I get to it?
Disrespectful. Listen, you little man. Disrespectful. Ugh.
You just stated that before the interaction with the person that you had, you didn't know him. That be fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say.
So how could you refer to him by name if you didn't know him?
I have seen the news since then, and the video of you being arrested, and you had since been identified on TV.
So that's how you came to the name?
That's correct.
So it'd be fair to say that you got that off of news reports?
That's correct.
You said the individual you spoke with seemed out of place and disoriented, like he didn't know where he was. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct.
And how would you characterize disoriented?
You just seemed very, very nervous and that you didn't know where you were.
Medically disoriented for the purposes of an emergency worker deciding whether or not we can impose treatment, let's say, is lack of knowledge or understanding of person, place, time, and event. Okay, so it used to be person, place, and time. They kind of added event that, you know, you can, if you can formulate what's going on around you, there's some semblance of, but you can't be fully oriented to your person, place, time, and event. Unless you're person, place, time, and event oriented, you're not fully oriented. And we can argue that imposing a medical treatment, that you would want a medical treatment if you were in your full capacity. Does that make sense? So, in other words, just because you call because grandma is, ill or throwing up or pooping all the time or doing something that you can't medically treat on your own, if grandma doesn't want to go and she is oriented to herself, her person, her place, what time it is, to some extent, and the event that's going on around her, I can't force her to go. So that's medical orientation. If you don't know where you are, people can say that's disoriented. Now, I don't know if she's medically trained, but she is describing some level of confusion. And in Darrell's panic from trying to get away because he was perfectly cognizant of what he had just done, he would be disoriented. His brain would not be functioning even at the low level of the smooth brain that Darrell has.
Who's
You had specifically said, I don't know where I am.
Who's you?
Who's you?
Or where am I specifically?
Who is you? That's not a question. That doesn't even make sense to anybody.
So disoriented would from your perspective be exactly what?
Disoriented as you did not know where you were.
There you go. That's fine. It doesn't fit any of his semantics. That's why he's confused. Ugh.
And you made reference to your phone being used, right?
That's correct.
And you also made reference to not being able to hear the person on the other line.
That's correct.
But you also made reference to not the person who used your phone not being able or not answering what was being asked to them. That'd be fair to say?
Objection. That's a compound question, vague and unclear.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
If you couldn't hear what was being said on the other end of the line, how can you say that there was questions being asked?
Well, there was clearly a conversation going on, and you just kept repeating, just call me an Uber, that you were very frustrated, and whoever was asking questions of you didn't just to call you an Uber. It's just my interpretation of it. I could not hear the other end of the phone conversation.
So it'd be fair to say you don't know what was being discussed.
Besides call me an Uber, yes, that's correct.
Do you recall the description you gave in your written statement?
Yes, I believe so.
You believe so?
Yes, I recall the description I gave.
And what was that?
The description I gave was an African-American male, about 160 pounds, 5'8", wearing a red t-shirt, no shoes.
No cloaking device there, dum-dum. Ding. There's nothing in there. Nothing. You know what he looks like right here? He reminds me of when I look in my refrigerator and then I shut the door and then I look in there again as if Zool is going to appear and hand me like a big chocolate birthday cake or something. Like some kind of magical elf has run to the store and brought me a whole bunch of goodies for free and stuck them in my refrigerator and they're going to hand them to me all made. Usually what it is just a bunch of ingredients that I've got to do the work to put it together myself.
And you referred to this individual coming from between houses, you said?
That's correct.
Is that what you actually saw?
Yes, that's what I saw. I saw you approach us at the very start of the block from between two houses.
I love her. I love how,
Any reason why that's not in your written statement?
because it's not a written statement.
I don't recall. I didn't actually write it. There was a detective at our house that was writing the statement for it. Maybe that part got missed. I'm not sure.
I love the Wisconsin house accent, and I love the way Sue Opera says car. Car. She is just like so open. Yeah, it's wow. I love the accent. Love it. Love it. Goes to prove she's not faking. She's not acting.
Was it this statement?
Oh my gosh.
I don't have it in front of me to see it.
Permission to show the witness the written statement?
Well, I don't know that it's necessary, Your Honor. She hasn't expressed any inability to recall.
Sustained.
She did. She just said she don't know why something was not in her written statement.
That's
Not what she said.
what she said. Is she doesn't know why the detective didn't write it in there. The detective is the one who wrote it, Your Honor.
So sustained.
were you-
Next, sustained
so
is to
were
the
you-
form of. Mr. Brooks, let me answer. Sustained is to the form of a question.
Okay, I don't understand sustained as to the form of the question. I might want to look that up, or somebody with any kind of legal background can explain that to me. As a lay person, it sounds like a cop out. It sounds like I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear, and I'm just going to attach some words at the end that don't really have meaning to Darrell, so as to stave off some kind of Darrell meltdown to drag things out. And there have been a lot of comments about the weakness of the judge and the strength. I think, and this is what I think that there were some mistakes, like when he pounds his fist on the table. I don't know if we've even got to that. I don't think we have. When he pounds his fist on the table and does his mean, mugging, intimidating look, and she says, frankly, that makes me scared. I think that was a mistake, because it just stoked the fire of his narcissism. Like, oh, I am able to intimidate the judge. Okay, so I think that was that type of thing maybe have been in error. There are times they say words that are natural for them to say, which he lobs onto. I don't think those are mistakes. I think those are just Darrell being narcissistic. But I understand her balancing, trying to keep things moving and trying to keep him from having temper tantrums. But that sounds a little bit like a cop out to me.
So the officer was writing what you told him, or did you actually write it yourself?
I did not actually write it myself. The detective was writing it as we were speaking, my husband and I.
Do you recall that officer's name?
No, I do not.
You made reference, when you were at the parade, you made reference to seeing a car swerve, or you said the car was swerving toward you.
It looked like a car that was out of control. I didn't know which direction it was headed.
And you said you saw it drove toward the barricade.
Correct. I saw it drive through the barricade.
When you say through the barricade, describe that.
The car sped up and drove straight through the barricade and continued on West Avenue.
Did he not just disprove some of his defense, which is there were barricades up, so I couldn't get off the parade route. I had to run over all these people.
Do you recall if this barricade was standing up or
I
laid down?
do not recall that. I was
But she
in
saw a barricade.
the middle of the road to prevent traffic from coming through, so I don't know if it was. I would assume it was standing up.
It was Darrell proving the prosecution case.
And was it at that same moment that you saw officer fire shots?
That's correct.
Do you recall how many shots?
3 shots.
You can't shake her. She's pretty good.
Did you see if the shots hit the vehicle? The car, as you say?
No, I did not. I was running up towards the house at the time with.
I was ducking for cover like a normal person would. Ugh, Darrell.
My son in my arms, and I was just trying to keep an eye on the vehicle, so I did not see where the shots actually went.
Did you see a vehicle hit anyone?
No, I did not.
I think we know what language that goblins speak now. It's gibberish. Oh, that was good. Don't be looking at us.
Could you see into the vehicle when you saw it?
No, I could not.
She was running away to the house.
And you said the vehicle went down West Street?
West Avenue, correct.
Did you see where it went from there? Or did it just go straight down West Avenue?
It continued on West Avenue. I was at one point, the house was blocking the road, so I couldn't see where the vehicle continued on.
Cloaking device wasn't working for that either, Darrell.
Anything else stick out to you about that day?
I don't know. Just, I mean,
It's
besides
kind of vague.
seeing the vehicle and the police firing shots and then running into you afterwards, I mean,
Maybe she could say
that
she
was
pooped
strange
twice.
enough.
That would stick out to me.
Do you recall what day you gave the statement? Was
Not
that the
exactly.
same night, or was it a few days after, or a week, or?
It might have been up to a week later. I don't know the exact date.
Recall why it took so long?
I don't know. I received a phone call from a detective probably almost a week later, and I would assume that they had a lot of other
Witnesses?
people to attend to, other witnesses to get to. It was not a priority at the time. I was
Witnesses.
not.
Got 30 officers and 1,000 witnesses.
So it'd be fair to say by that time you had saw news reports and had learned information about what happened.
Correct.
See, but Darrell, it's not against the law for these people to watch the news.
before today, had you seen any of the video footage or photos that you saw today? Had you seen any of those before today?
Are you talking about the video of you being arrested, or I guess I don't understand the question.
The video footage that you saw today. Had you seen that before today?
I did see the Aries Industries clip before, yes.
What about the other exhibit that was shown?
I recognize that from a ring video I had seen from the arrest.
She's nervous now. Again, she thinks that he's twisting her words, and she's looking over to see if they're going to stop it. And I think I would probably do the same thing. I totally understand. She's just trying to do her best. All of these witnesses were heroes for everybody in that town, in that little city, small city, medium, whatever size city you want to call it, that was terrorized by this trash goblin who stomped through their town, wreaking havoc everywhere, and then trying to get away using the goodwill of others. Ugh, and all she just does not want her words twisted. But relax, if they're not saying anything, they don't think anything's wrong. I could have said that all without pausing. Come on, Darrell. See, I could have said that whole thing.
So it'd be fair to say a lot of what you learned came from news reports.
After the incident, yes.
Unfazed. Writing down, Darrell. What are you writing down?
Did you make any claim in this matter? File a claim?
What kind of a claim?
Have you filed any claim?
No.
Idiot.
You filed a complaint?
I just gave a witness statement to the detectives. I did not file a complaint
I guess
specifically.
that would be a claim. She's part of the people of Wisconsin.
About what time did you learn that you could possibly testify in this matter?
Objection relevance.
Overruled. She may answer.
When I received a subpoena in the mail from the DA's office.
Do you recall whose name was on that subpoena?
Sue Opper.
Do you see Sue Opper in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you point her out for the jury and for the record?
I'll stipulate, Your Honor.
Thank you. The record will reflect the stipulation and the witness identifying Attorney Opper.
Do you recall around what time you received that subpoena?
I don't recall exactly, no.
What happened? The cloaking
After
device.
you received the subpoena, did you follow up with the district?
See, he really did have a cloaking device. Ooh. Let's see. See if I can do this. Yeah, the cloaking device.
Attorney's office at that point?
They contacted me.
Attorney operated?
Someone from the witness.
Yeah,
I
Attorney
don't know what
Opper
her
does
exact
all
title
her
is. It's someone from the
secretarial
DA's
work.
office. It's not specifically Sue Opper.
My son has a small
Witness
business.
advocate type of.
My son has a small business, and he doesn't do all of his secretarial work. I do it.
So can you repeat the question?
Was it like a witness advocate?
I don't know what her exact title
Secretary
is.
or something. It was an administrative.
Do you recall her name?
Yeah, yes, her name is Carrie.
She wants her name dragged through this for sure. That's the piece of evidence there, Darrell.
After you learned of the additional information, did you read any police reports or a complaint?
No.
Are you aware of who the plaintiff may be in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Ever been notified who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
Next question, please.
Do you even know if there's a plaintiff in this matter?
Yes, there is.
And who's the plaintiff?
I believe it's the state of Wisconsin.
Would that constitute a breathing human being or an entity?
Objection,
Grounds.
argumentative, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Are you aware that only a human being can bring a complaint or be a plaintiff?
Objection, misstatement
Grounds.
of the law.
Sustained.
This reminds me of the movie The Matrix, when Keanu Reeves finally understands that he is faster and he's just, flipping his hand back and forth in the fight, and the other one he's like checking his fingernails or whatever. Sue Opper's Keanu Reeves just like swatting away the stupid questions with her legitimate objections. Ugh. We're gonna be done. Faster if I stop talking.
You ever had any interaction with the state of Wisconsin?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained. Mr.
Grounds for the
Sir, under
sustain.
90611, please. Move on.
Have you ever contacted the state of Wisconsin in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain.
Under 90611, move on, or I'll declare the cross-examination ended.
course you would. No further questions.
Any redirect?
Nothing further, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step down. This will also be a very good opportunity to take a mid-morning break. I'll rise for the jury, please. For the parties, please be back in 10 minutes.
Talking.
We are in recess.
That's right.
Fold his dumb arms. And she turns off the audio, I guess. Wow. Okay, that made him mad. Pretty sure we're in for some good stuff later. Okay, like and subscribe. Keep commenting. Good, bad, and indifferent. I love them all. I tried to catch up on them while I was at work the other day. That was hard. I will see you next time. This is Patty Jo.